All right, Bob. So day 2 of the test made a little bit of a change that could have a relatively significant impact. So what I've done is this is a test for an alternative way of doing the calendar. So instead of actually doing the calendar in 30-minute increments, which is what I was doing, and then going in and hand typing in individual tasks into the calendar, I'm doing a trial run of actually inserting mirrors of the actual tasks from inside of their projects into individual time frames. So you can see here that I've actually so here's what it looked like yesterday. Let me jump into week 2. Okay, I'm going to complete that. So this is what it looked like before. I would actually go in and just manually type, looking at my tasks and looking at what time frames I was going to put them in. So I put those into my week. That's what I did Saturday. And that's fine. And I like this. But it's duplicate work since I already have all this stuff someplace else. You know, each of the things that I put into a particular time are derived from another source. So so that's what I'm attempting to, oh, for Pete's sakes. There we go. So that's what I'm attempting to do here is delete duplicate work. So if I can just insert mirrors, that leaves the tasks in their project. It also potentially solves the problem of sliding, and that's one thing I do like in Google Calendar is that you can just grab chunks and slide. So at least here what I could do is if you know, if something was taking longer and I needed to drag and drop it, I could drag the task. Since it's not associated with the time specifically, it's a child. So instead of being text after a time, it's a child offspring of the time. So yeah, let's see here. Go into today. And then I'm going to complete that one so I don't have duplicate days. So essentially I've created a mirror from that test node and inserted it directly into my calendar. So it's taking the place of what was Monday's plan, and now it's a mirror of Monday's plan. So that that will allow me, like I said, and especially here, it's a little easier to drag and drop when it's just a list instead of a board. A little harder to drag and drop because you have to do a few more keystrokes. So anyway, that's what my list is. And now that I have you here, looking at my current setup, my current kind of dashboard, I'll explain what's going on a little bit so you'll get a sneak peek. I'm thinking about actually turning this into a more polished kind of a post for the Workflowy group, making a video and doing a little bit more editing to it so it's a little clearer. Right now, if I was to look at this, it looks like a lot's going on, which it is. But so the central, sorry, I just saw something I want to change. Backspace. Days log. There we go. So the central key to this big change, number one, is the visual interface. Everything is in one place for the day. So I've kind of pulled things and mirrored things into this node so I can come and kind of live here. It works best when I'm actually at my computer, but it still works fairly well when I'm out and about on mobile. But the central node is this journal, and so okay, so what I just did, here's the big shift for me, and this goes back to what I've been spending most of my time thinking about for the last couple of weeks, really, 2 or 3 weeks. I've spent lots of hours, kind of thinking about. Shoot, I don't want to belabor this point, but basically just thinking about essentially how was I created, what was I created, what are my strengths, what are the things I love, and now that it looks like I kind of have financial stability, the painting work seems to be like a credible source of income. I think more stable than what I was doing before. And it seems like work is coming in, and kind of as I've done it now for about half a year, the referrals are going out. People are just talking to others so that I'm getting quite a bit of steady phone calls and then signing contracts on them. All that to say, much of my brain space for decades has been how to make enough money and be consistent in that. And I've never figured that out. But I think now maybe all things being equal, that's kind of taken care of. So now that can let me turn my attention in terms of what I want to do with my life. Well, first I need to take care of my family financially, so that's occupied a lot of my brain space. Now that that's taken care of, now I can look, within that. Now that that's taken care of, what do I really want to focus on with my time and with my margin in particular. And so that's why I've been thinking about, okay, what do I love? What's, with the time remaining in my weeks, which is about 30 hours or so, what do I want to do with my other area of responsibilities, and how do I want to do that? So I don't know if I can show you. Let me go to Facecam so you can maybe, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Let me pick up this camera. Okay, all of that writing there on the whiteboard is, yeah, sorry about that. Maybe not such a good idea. There we go. All the writing on the whiteboard is just me talking about, what are my strengths? What are the things that I do that seem to actually be beneficial, not just theoretically, but practically. I've talked to several of my close friends, asking them when I'm in a room or when I'm in a situation, what do I bring into that situation that's positive? So using the Pareto principle, which is 20% of the input gives 80% of the output. And so if you can focus on that 20% more and more of the things that I do that actually produce the output, you can cause, in theory, exponentially increased output. If you stop doing that other 80% that's not really giving you the output. So that's what I'm kind of trying to focus on. What's the 10 to 20% of the things I do that do the most for my family, for my wife, for the church, for my job, and why don't I just do that stuff as much as I can, and as much as I can not do the other stuff that's just not, fruitful or beneficial. Okay, all that to say that this central node, the journal, which I think that's a poor word. I think journal more like capture. Try that. That's something that I do. That's something that I love, capturing and logging. And up to this point, journaling has been like a particular item on my daily flywheel way down here. Where is it? Arrive home. Debrief day. I think it's in here. Right here. So in my life, the place of journaling has been update journal for the day, which is essentially, what did I do for work? Any other significant things happen today? Was it somebody's birthday or whatever? Just kind of a log, not journaling in the sense of writing out my thoughts and ideas, but more just keeping a log of what happened that day. And then I send it over to an archive for that, and then I can go back into it. That's useful. But I've moved what before was just one item on my task list to be the central thing that I do in my life, which is capture, and then send things to destinations. So what that looks like is me coming in. When I wake up, I pull out my iPhone, tap in now, click on the date and time, stamp, and then just say that's when I got up. And then I weigh myself. Did I wait log? Okay, there we go. I do this on the computer. I actually input these on my phone, but right now, for some reason, my phone will not allow me to insert embeds. Like for my account specifically, there's a problem. So anyway, so what I'm doing all day, instead of capturing and journaling being something that's just a little task, I've moved it to that's the fundamental activity that I do. And that's really harmonizing with my key strengths. Context is my number one kind of need and strength, to find and create context in any situation. So this is a deeply contextual thing that I'm doing. So it's really harmonizing with how I was made. Like, probably more than most people in the world, I crave context. And so, if I meet somebody new, I'm not so interested in what they're doing right now or what they're doing in that place with me. Like if I meet somebody at church, I'm not so much asking them, what do you like, why are you here? Or just talking about their lives. I'm interested in, how did you come to this church? Why are you here? Why are you in Huntsville? Where did you grow up? Because it's contextual. Like I can't really understand people unless I know from where they're coming. And then ultimately, if I get to know them, I want to know where they want to go, so I can kind of create this, sight down the trajectory of their life in order to understand them right now. So that's one example. When I was a project manager, it was all about creating a context for situations as opposed to just getting things done. So I just see things a certain way. So for somebody like me, it's deeply fulfilling and also fruitful for me to capture, for me to have capturing as a primary activity. So more central than being a painter, I capture concepts, I capture workflows, I capture flywheels, and then I send them to their destination. So that key mechanic is what's embedded here. And this is by creating a board and placing that capture node right where it is, what that forces me to do as a side effect. And that's what I love. I love ramifications. I like my actions to be ramifications of other core mechanics. So by placing it here and knowing all day long, every day, I'm going to be coming here and entering what I'm doing. Like yesterday at church, I was on this node. I was on this board and taking notes and inserting them. So, or if I'm having a meeting with a customer, this is where I'm having the meeting, is on this particular list, on that particular card for that. As I'm, if I was having a meeting right now with somebody, I would just go in and hit now and then type up, cruise first look meeting, and then I would take my notes inside of there. So this has become my primary destination and workflow. The top, there we go. The top node right here is the primary destination for me in workflow now. Because that's my primary destination, I go in through my flywheels. And again, another mechanic that I use is the pop to the top mechanic. So I don't want to have to decide what to do. I want the next thing to do to have been planned by me previously, so on Saturday typically, or the night before. So as I go through my day, I don't want to be thinking, what should I do next? I want it to be whatever's at the top. So as I'm coming here to capture whatever's going on right now, I jump into workflowy, and then if I'm on my computer, I use WFX to jump in here. If on my iPhone, I use the starred menu because this is a starred node. And so what's at the very top is track calories, and then water. Okay, this is the exact this moment what you just saw. Because it's at the top, it triggers me. I need to drink water, and I try and drink a big glass of water before I go to work. So me drinking water right then was a consequence of me doing my primary activity of capturing. So because I'm going to this top node here, and I open up to today, and I scan across the top to get there, oh yeah, I need to be drinking water right now. And these are all in order. This is my daily flywheel. And so whatever's at the top, once I'm done this and I click off and I track the water, which will be a capture thing, I'll come in here and it now in 21 ounces, and then water log. So I just embedded that in a log. I won't do that right now because I haven't actually finished the water, but drinking, like doing what I want to do with my life in the moment, is now a consequence of coming to the top node of capture, which is what I do all day anytime there's a transition. So I'm constantly kind of aware of being in a situation and making sure I'm capturing whatever I need to in that situation. And so I come in here in water, and then I come over here. So that's my daily flywheel. Now I come over here scanning and see, okay, the very next thing is at 7:30. It's 7:46, so I'm running a little bit behind. Actually not. This is just on. Yeah, it's actually not. That's only a 5-minute task. So here in about 5 minutes, I'll be doing that. So I see what's next, and I can scan down and kind of see what's the next few hours going to hold in order to get to this destination. That whole kind of sequence happening several dozen times a day, it has been revolutionary. And of course, it's constantly in flux. As I'm, here probably in a few months, it'll get really stable, and I'll have simplified things. Like right now, I feel like it's still a little bit confusing. I'm also considering, I don't know, like this daily flywheel, embedding those in my calendar. So under 7:30 or whatever, drink water, track water, fill water, that may actually, this column may disappear. I don't know. It might not work. But that might actually get embedded in my calendar. I'm going to probably at least try it and see if I can make it function. It may be a little clunky to do it that way, and it might be better just to separate it out. And creating this central cockpit, never before have I had an inbox in workflow other than I've tried it a couple of times. It's never worked, but now I have because I'm here all the time, and now right next to it, if I have some idea, or Gracie says, hey, remember to pick up whatever, or can you add this to your list, I'll just drop it right there, and then I process this, pretty much every day. Right now, I've got current projects on this board, which is a little bit clunky because I have to delete them every day because of another mechanic that I use to track story points, and this ends up it's still kind of a little overly complicated to do that, but I just mirror I mirror the particular tasks that are associated with what I'm doing this week, roughly. The reason is so if I have to add a task that I hadn't planned before, so say it's 11:30 today, and I realize, oh, I need to, whatever, I need to stop by the grocery store, hashtag town, hashtag found work, okay, there. But then I can Alt Shift M, then I can mirror that into my calendar. But I want the source to be the project always. I don't want the source to be coming from here. And neither do I want to have something on my calendar that's not showing up in a project. That, at least at this point, that's not functional for me. So I've got all my current projects here. I'm going to Control Z because I don't need to stop by the grocery store, I don't think. But that's why I have current projects, so I can quickly add something to them if I need to, and then mirror it into any of these nodes that I need to. And then the other thing that's here is this set of logs, which is growing. And some of these are mirrors, which means they're inside of a project someplace. I'm logging to, say, a particular construction project. So Dunkel is the next job I'm starting. So I've got this job log. So as I'm journaling, as I'm capturing, and I get to a job, and put in the timestamp of when I started, and then, what am I doing? I'm going to paint the walls or whatever, first coat. I'll put that in there and then embed Dunkel job log, and it automatically creates this running list inside of the Dunkel job of anything I'm doing. And I can also I'm thinking about creating something like work log. So as I go through my day, I'll be sending a log of a captured journal item to the individual job. But if I also had just a general work log, as I go from job to job, I can also go through and see chronologically what I've done back through time in the different jobs, but it'll be accumulated. It'll both be in the job itself and create a general ledger. So that's what all this is. All of these are things that I can track. So I have, my weight log. I can jump into that and see what I've weighed back through time. But it's not because I've had to jump in and record it someplace. It's just a natural consequence of journaling or capturing. And so I capture my weight here, and then because I embed the log that I want it as to be added to as a destination, it just automatically, just like a little tweet, gets sent off. Everything is just kind of getting sent off to different destinations, and then I can go back and refer to those. So anyway, this has become kind of my work. Much of my workflow is done right here on this central page. But I also know things are getting sent to where they need to be sent to. And because I've set it up where like the project tasks are mirrors, when I complete this here, it'll be completed over in the project. So I'm trying to more and more, and I think give me 3 months and this will be much more densely integrated out with kind of tentacles out into my general workflow at home, doing a lot of stuff from here. So if you stuck around for 23 minutes, good on you. I've got to go to work.